Hey everyone, welcome back to Cuddy's bookshelf. So it is time for June's reading wrap up. This month has flown by and I read a really great bunch of books this month, so I will jump straight into them. So the first one I will talk about is Babel. Oh my goodness, dark academia at its finest. I really enjoyed Babel. I think the setting of it, so this is set in Oxford in 1836. This is about a boy that was taken from Canton and brought to London, and he attends Oxford, and at the heart of Oxford is Babel, and at Babel is where they study translation. And the magical system in this, it feels so real, and I just love that. R.F. Kuang made me feel really smart reading this book. This is dark academia at its finest, and I really mean that, because she makes it so you can understand what it is like to study at Oxford, the pressure of being at Oxford, the standard of things at Oxford, and she just broke down the academia in this, so it was like small bites that made it so easy to consume, but still felt like really educational, and she did an amazing job with that. When the boy first arrives at Oxford, at Babel, he thinks it is a paradise until he starts seeing things a bit more clearer and understanding how things work. But can one boy take down an entire empire is the whole gist of this book, and it is heartbreaking. There's loads of twists in it. It's so action-packed. To say dark academia, it does have a lot of academia in it, so if you don't really like that sort of genre, you won't like this. But I found that it was so like integrated with the action and everything that's going on, and to know all of the ins and outs of the magical system and the people that are in this book, and like the prejudice against people in this book, it was absolutely incredible, and I just loved my time with Babel. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, the first one was Babel. The next book I'll talk about is A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. This was a really good like whodunit type thriller. It had funny moments in it. Like the characters, all of the characters were so like morally grey and had like backstories to them that any of them could have done it. It really left you guessing till right at the end, and I loved that about this book. But I do think that you need to go into this one blind and you will get the most out of it. But yeah, I enjoyed this filler also. And I'll jump back to the first book that I read in the month of June, which was Feral Wolf. This is book 3 in the Darkmoor Penitentiary series, and this made me cry. I cannot wait for number 4 to come out, because the ending of this one, oh my goodness, I knew it was going to end on a cliffhanger. I was prepared for it. I keep telling everybody I was ready to read this, because I know that they're currently writing book 4, so it will not be long before it is out, and I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I was just not prepared. And of all of the people that she has got close with, the thing that happens is to the one person that would break my heart the most, and it did. It's oh my goodness, and I just need to know what is going to happen now. I just really need to know, and it's killing me. So this is about Rosalie, who in her past had made some mistakes, so she got herself put into Darkmoor Penitentiary on purpose, and with the whole thing of breaking out and trying to right some wrongs that she made, as well as doing a job at the same time. And this follows her story. It has multiple loves in this, like multiple love interests in this. It's so good, and I need number 4. I need it now, please. Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti just need to just bring out their books in series, because I can't stand the gap. It's killing me. The next book is Silver in the Bone by Alexander Bracken. I was expecting more from this than what I got. I was expecting more of the Arthurian legend throughout of the book, but this one, it started off really, really slow, and then I was like quite slumpy towards the middle, but then it like the speed picked up so fast towards the end, and I felt like that sort of momentum could have been built up sooner. So I didn't enjoy it as much as I think I would if the pacing was more spread out, rather than all of the twists and the emotions and everything towards the end. I did enjoy it by the time I got to the end of it, but I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if, you know, the pacing was better. But yeah, it was a good retelling of, or inspired by, Arthurian legend. I did enjoy it towards the end, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So I'll get into the two mangas that I read this month, which were Cheerful Amnesia Volumes 1 and 2. This is about a girl who is suffering with amnesia, and her girlfriend is worried that not only will she not remember her, but that she is also a woman, and will she still have the same feelings even though she is suffering from this amnesia and not remembering her relationship that they have had for 3 years. And this one's more of her like coming round and knowing that she is living with a girl, and but she is still like crazy flirty and obsessed with this girl. So the woman had no issues regarding her, but she herself feels like she has just come out of school and that she hasn't had a real job before, she hasn't had a real relationship, she's not had a first kiss before. The second one is more of her girlfriend's point of view, where she is starting to really crave that intimacy that they had and don't know how to approach the situation with the girl, because she has never done, in her mind, she has never done anything before, whereas before they had a more healthier, active relationship. So yeah, it was a really nice read. I enjoyed it, and I flew through these ones because they was only tiny, and I will carry on with the series. Then we will go into some of the contemporary romances that I've read this month. So the first one is The American Roommate Experiment. This one I did enjoy. It is about a girl called Rosie who, her ceiling has fell through, and she knows that her best friend is currently on her honeymoon, so she uses her spare key to go over to her friend's apartment and plans to stay there while the roof, like her ceiling, is getting fixed. But what she didn't realise is that her best friend had already let her apartment out to her cousin, who is Lucas. And Lucas and Rosie start to spend time together. Rosie has always had this crush on Lucas, and she was hoping to meet him at her best friend's wedding, but he wasn't able to attend, and they make an agreement to share this apartment, and it goes from there. It's a really great contemporary romance. I actually really enjoyed that one. So then I read a couple of Emily Henry's books, the first one being Beach Read. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I don't think Emily Henry has written a book that I haven't been obsessed with. She just knows what she's doing. I absolutely loved this book. It is about two writers both suffering from writer's block. So they challenge each other because they are sort of like enemies to start with. They went to college together, they have a history, and they challenge each other to write a book from each other's genres. So he is a more serious fiction type. She is more of a romance, like romanticising her life kind of person. So they both challenge each other to write books from each other's genres, and whoever gets published first wins. And it's such a really, really good story. That is such the bare minimum of this story. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the other Emily Henry that I read was Funny Story, and this one had me gripped. I really, really enjoyed this. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I just wished I had more Emily Henrys to read, because this Oh, it was so good. So this followed Daphne, who on the night, well, the morning after the night of her fiance's stag do, he comes home and tells her that his best friend, the best friend that she didn't need to worry about because she trusted him, his best friend told him that she was in love with him, and he realises that he is in love with her. So she goes from being engaged to him leaving her for his best friend. So, and the apartment and everything is in his name. So she needs to find, he's given her a week, he's going away for a week on holiday with his new girlfriend. They're giving her a week to get out of his house. So she's got to find somewhere to live, and she ends up going to the, let me get this right. She ends up going to her ex's girlfriend's ex's house. So they are both living together in this apartment. They're both heartbroken by this couple that said that they loved them, and they are like grieving their losses together and build each other up at the same time. It was such a good book. Honestly, I did not do it justice, but read it. It's great. I can't wait for more Emily Henry. I really can't. She is... I did read 3 other contemporary romances, all by the same author. I have read 1 book from this author before, so now I've read 4. I feel like I can say that this author will be an auto-buy author for me in the future, because I have enjoyed every single one of her contemporary romances, and I wish I had more from her, and it is Tara Dewitt. So I read Rootbound, I read The Co-op, and I read Savour It. So Savour It is Tara Dewitt's newest book. This follows Sage and Fisher. So Sage is a girl from a small town called Spoons. Everybody knows everybody. She is still getting over a breakup. Her 5-year relationship is ended, and he is now engaged to somebody else. Then Fisher is a really top Michelin star. He got Michelin stars for this restaurant, chef. But since his sister passed away, he is the sole carer for his niece, Indy, and he sort of lost a bit of himself. So he lost a Michelin star for the restaurant. He was fired, but they didn't want to just get rid of him, so they sent him to open a new restaurant in the town of Spoons. So this is where he meets his neighbour, which is Sage, and it goes from there. It's really great story. I loved this one. But the next one is The Co-op. So this one is about Lorraine and Deccan. Lorraine is on her way to this Santa Cruz complex that she had been inherited by her grandmother, but her grandmother shared this with Deccan's grandmother. So they have to work together to try and sell this place, but it really needs renovating. She has the money if she gets married. She can get into her trust fund if she gets married, and he has the know-how on how to fix things so it will make it cheaper. So they decide to get married to have her money, do the complex up with his skills, and then sell it. They are, it's like false proximity. It's just so good. They have a history from when they was younger. Summer spent at this Santa Cruz place, and it's just so good. The last one is Rootbound. This one is about Tate and Henry. Tate is just had her heart broken. She is building her life back up and following her dreams of becoming a professional photographer. She gets contracted to take photos of this beautiful famous ranch, which has been featured in a TV show. So it's got all of this hype around it, and she needs to go and take photos. But what they don't know is this ranch is owned by her estranged family that she has not had anything to do with since she was younger. And she has to make the decision to stay professional and actually go to this ranch and do her job. Then she meets Henry, who is a cowboy who works the ranch, and the family that is estranged from Tate is seen in a whole new different light by him, because they took him in when he needed it the most, and he has such loyalty to them. But they start getting closer, both Tate and Henry start getting closer, and it goes from there. And I loved the family feel to that one. It was just amazing. The next book took me 3 days to rate the book, and I have not stopped thinking about this book since putting it down. So that's why I ended up giving it, I think I gave it a 4 stars, because it's a book on a subject that I don't really... I've been wanting to read more books that make me uncomfortable, and Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry made me uncomfortable. So this is about a mother. This is from a mother's perspective, and it's about her son, who he is like a straight A student, really popular, until one day he starts shutting himself off. He's a really good swimmer. He has been praised and think that he will get a scholarship on his swimming, and he coaches a girls swim team around the age of 6 years old. So he coaches them, and one day he tells his mother that he had touched some of the girls inappropriately, and this is his mother's perspective on that happening, and her not understanding and trying to justify why he did what he did. You get so angry and frustrated with the perspective that you're reading from, and then it gets really emotional, and the twist at the end, I literally felt like someone had like punched me in my chest. I was so taken aback by it, and it made me feel really, really uneasy, made me feel really sick. I just, yeah, but it stayed with me at the same time. As hard it was to read, I've been wanting to get into more books that make me feel more uncomfortable, that bring out these feelings in me, and I think this one, you know, it did that. It really did that. And yeah, if you read this, just read the trigger warnings, read all of the trigger warnings, and just be careful, because it is not a light read. It is very hard hitting, and it stays with you afterwards. And yeah, so there's that one. Then on a more lighter note, I did read Abroad in Japan, and oh my god, this was hilarious. I loved this. I really felt like I could envision the things that he was doing and seeing when he's walking around when he first got to Japan, and how there was a translation barrier because he wasn't very strong in Japanese. This one is about Chris, who moved over to Japan to become a English teacher, and he is hilarious. His way of writing his experience of when he first got to Japan and building relationships up and things that happened during his time in Japan was absolutely hysterical. I loved this so much. It did really have me gripped. I was so gutted when it ended, because I was like, tell me more, tell me more. But yeah, I think it's such a good book. If you love Japan, or you always wanted to travel there, or you want to know what it's like to live in Japan, this is a perfect book to represent that. It was just incredible, and I learned a lot from it also. So yeah, absolutely amazing. And this was a gift from Jennifer, so thank you so much, Jennifer. I absolutely loved this, absolutely loved it. And then the last book, I am obsessed with this book, with this series. Oh my goodness. Empire of the Damned. I loved Empire of the Vampire. Don't get me wrong, it was amazing. But the amount of swear words and like the crying I did, the swear words I wanted to send to J. Kristoff for the emotional roller coaster that is this book. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And I am so it makes me appreciate like my tour edition and everything that I have of this book, and the fact that I got to hear him talk about this. I'm just obsessed. I am obsessed. So this is J. Kristoff's vampire series. It is about Gabe, who is currently imprisoned by the monsters that he had vowed to kill. And it goes through his story. So the person that has him imprisoned is making him tell his story from when he was very young to now, present day. And he is still going through his story. I can't with this book. If you are intimidated, I mean, look, I have a lot of feelings, okay? Honestly, don't be intimidated by the size of this book. That's what I was saying. I got thinking by my feelings. Don't be intimidated by the size of the book, because once you are in it, you are in it. Oh, I want the next one already. I really want it. This is my favourite book of the month. I do have a few like 5 stars in this, but I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. Honestly, I think as well as Emily Henry's and some of the Tara Dewitt ones, I think these two have been my favourite reads of the month. Although, you know, this one has been in my head constantly since, so, you know, that's got to say something for it. But oh my goodness, on my little notes I put, I cried, I laughed, I worried, all the emotions with this book. Loved it. 5 stars. It was true, all of the emotions. But I highly recommend J. Kristoff's vampire series. Please read it. It's just incredible. I loved this book so much. Oh my goodness. And that is all of the books that I read in June. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I have read in June, what you thought of them. What did you end up reading in June? Any good books? Any recommendations for me? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know your thoughts. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more from me, please subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! And at the heart of Oxford is Babel, where they study translation. Yeah, I don't know why I hesitated on that. So I'll jump back to the first one. That'd be what? Bling. So she got herself into Darkmoor and she's craving that intimacy. Or why can't I speak today? And she was hoping. Then I read a couple of Emily, and he realizes that he is the girls, that her grandmother. See, this. I keep trying to talk about this book, but I have such mixed feelings about it, and the hatred that I felt at the end of this book, like the emotions that I felt during and at the end of this book, like the twist at the end of this actually made me feel physically sick. I'm finding it hard to talk about. Hold on. Why is my camera getting lower? Has it been doing that the whole time? Probably. Bugger me. Sorry if you've had my head cut off halfway through that. Apparently my thingy was lowering and I didn't even notice because I was too busy staring into my camera. This. You can go in there, you're just painful. I got that into this, that I went straight onto, because he does have a YouTube channel called Abroad in Japan. So I went straight to his YouTube channel and started watching the videos that he mentions in this book. So like you could see the little apartment and everything because he videoed the whole thing. And yeah, I was one of those people that went into his YouTube channel just to find the videos that were mentioned, and I did really enjoy them. So I'm now subscribed to Chris Broad. And I'm not sad about it. It's absolutely amazing. Love it. So good. Better put all those away now.